Okay, so I made it something on Reddit where I would go over Disventure Camp Hot Takes, as I am a fan of Disventure Camp, and I decided to, put my hat on the ring, so here we go. There are some hot takes, and I will be able to answer them. The first one is from Shineth, who said, Logan isn't a bad character. His writing is mostly fine. He isn't a screen hog. He does suffer consequences for his actions, and he doesn't get away with everything, and he isn't a bad winner. This I absolutely agree, and I will stand by the fact that Logan isn't as bad as people say he is. Let me go over each of them. The writing. It's mostly fine, but the problem is when he's trying to play the game, he has no motive of making the moves he does. A screen hog. I think that would be more for major characters like Jade or Anastasia. Logan just shows up out of nowhere from time to time. He does suffer consequences for his actions. I mean, here's the thing. The consequences he has are minimal, which is where everyone's just mad at him at the moment, thinking, oh, god damn it, Logan, why did you flip? And he isn't a bad winner. I agree. I personally mark him as number 2 between Miriam and James, and you already know who number 4 is, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't hate Logan as much as other people do. I get the critique, but I respectfully disagree. Sorry. The next one comes from Responsible Soil. My hot take is that there shouldn't be any returning contestants during the season. Once you're eliminated, you're done. No second chances during the season. No comeback challenge. Once you're voted out, you stay eliminated. Makes the stakes higher and creates more tension. Here's the thing. While I partly agree with where you're coming from, because I really hate when contestants come back, I will admit that it depends on the situation within Disventure Camp. If an already eliminated character can bring more to the table, then they can work. One major example would be Amelie from Season 4. She shows more of the human side, especially after befriending Hannah. And as such, while she is a supporting character, she also is a major factor in Hannah's plot, and she was able to use the character development she got from earlier in the season and be able to be a mentor to Hannah, just like Hannah was for her. On the other hand, we have Marissa, who's just there to be Hannah's girlfriend. Yeah, I would have swapped Marissa with Tristan. No disrespect to Marissa. So yeah, for me, while you do have a good point, it's a case-by-case basis, even in the real life shows. Quiet Confection said, this season is very good so far. Second best season in my opinion. I mean, it's hard to say. The season hasn't finished yet, so I wouldn't give my overall opinion of it until the season ends. But yeah, I do agree it's good so far. I wouldn't call it the second best season, but that's beside the point. The next one comes from Cozy Cheesecake. My really hot take is that just because a character has appeared multiple seasons and had deep runs, doesn't mean they should be barred from participating in further seasons. I generally don't care if a character is considered a screen hog or a nation character favorite. As long as the character's plot is entertaining during the season, I don't mind them returning. For example, people say as soon as Gen 1 and Gen 2 should stop making appearances during the returning seasons. However, I disagree. They could appear for 20 more seasons for all I care. Just imagine, it's season 20, and Gabby, Tom, Aiden, and Allie are making their 10th appearance on Disventure Camp. I'd imagine most of the fan base would lose their minds, in my opinion. But I seriously don't mind as long as it's entertaining. That would depend on a character basis. If it's an interesting character who would have something new to bring to the table, then yeah, I would be okay with that. I mean, we've seen, so for me, at the very least, Tom brings something to the table now that he's a married man. Gabby also is pretty entertaining. Hell, I'm actually surprised that I enjoy Spencer more, especially since he was a massive villain, but I do like to see him get a second chance. On the other hand, there's characters like Alec who I can do without, because as much as I don't dislike him, I feel like this was the right time for him to go, and I do think they should retire him for a season. because he's clearly not cut out for it. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't like seeing characters redo their own plot point moving forward. I mean, yeah, would it be nice to see regulars on the show, like, let's say, The Challenge? Yes, but don't have them on every season. Have them on, let's say, every 5 seasons, every 7 seasons. Because if we had the same people for every season, then it would get boring. So, I have no qualms with the same characters returning, just as long as it's in small portions. I mean, if that were the case, let's take a real life example, Suri would definitely get boring as time would go by, and Suri Field is never boring. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I like Spencer mainly due to his maths. Him being a math major gives me bias towards him before the season started, and it's a large part of why he's my favorite character. Okay, I'm going to tackle this one at a time, so I wouldn't say that's a necessary negative hot take. If anything, if you can find someone relatable, then kudos to you. I mean, I find Neku from The World Ends With You relatable, so I can see why you would have a bias towards someone. Although I wouldn't call it a bias, I would say more like a relatability. That, in this case, Spencer is your spirit animal. The other hot take. Returning winners are not a bad thing. If someone turns and then wins, it's definitely surprising, but if it's written well, it's not a bad idea in theory. If returnees can't win or dismissed as not winning, it can make it boring to return to some characters because they'll either be a supporting character or a more villainous character to justify an elimination. Or we can get a Disventure Camp All-Star or con or quit moment. I can see where you're coming from with this, and I don't mind returning winners coming back as long as they can bring something to the table. I used to be anti-winner sentiment, which is why I would object to certain winners returning. Hell, I was skeptical when Rachel from Big Brother returned to Big Brother 27, only to find out that she actually brings something to the table compared to the rest of the cast, who were pretty much, I don't know, most of them are practically snooze fests. I'm sorry, but they are. Even the only characters I kinda liked were Ashley, Vinny, Morgan, Will, and that's about it. Everyone else was just boring. And like I said, I wouldn't mind returning winners as long as they can bring something to the table. If it's good, then we get a Rachel Riley, but if it's bad, then we get a Jordan Lloyd, who I don't think even want to return to Big Brother 13, to be honest. According to OKJacket2366, Spencer's elimination makes sense. He was unpleasant towards mostly everyone, and his social game was complete garbage. Also, Ted's comedy sucks. Okay, so it's not so much his elimination that doesn't make sense, because Spencer has made too many enemies, and he has made no effort to get to know people, which his social game was total crap. It's not so much him being eliminated, it's more so after he left, the season started getting bleh. I think no one can match up to Spencer being such a massive antagonist and a massive threat in the game. But I felt like his time was running out. Ted's comedy sucks. I semi-like Ted, but I feel like they could have written him a lot better. I thought he was going to be the Russell Hantz of this season, but apparently not. Apparently he's just someone who looks... Apparently they made him a first disc boss or a Hunter Ellis to Rob Mariano. But then again, who'd be Rob Mariano then? Anna? Ted? Logan? I don't know. But yeah, Ted I find hit or miss. But I can understand why people find him unfunny. Okay, we have a list here. Apparently I'm going to go over each of them one by one. So bear with me. You and Rhea are both excellent characters, and Rhea is the second best winner. I agree. They do their job as villains well. Although, this is going to sound weird, but Yul Yul does his job as a villain well. Rhea is just trying to. Rhea's not as evil, and I know Rhea's actions are reprehensible, but I don't know. It just doesn't. It just feels forced because you can definitely tell she's acting to be evil, which doesn't feel earned to. I mean, at the very least, Yul is consistently a prick, and Rhea's the second best winner. I have to respectfully disagree because Rhea, I felt like she had the most plot armor in both of her seasons. A double finalist twice, I felt like this was a bit too much. I would have preferred Gret, Jake, and Allie, or Gret, Jake, and Connor, or Gret, Allie, and Connor, but honestly, Rhea was practically. She was a massive screen hog and doesn't get much comeuppance. Compare. Let's see. Derek is best host, Emily is worst host. I don't remember anything about Derek. I feel like he was just boring to me. I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. Emily? I don't know. I think she did alright, all things considered. I mean, she does have her job, and she's doing what she can to play the game, so kudos to her. Rosemarie and Tristan are both mid. Not necessarily. I mean, I personally find them interesting, although maybe it's because they're pretty mellow and chill and good vibes. But that's just me. Aiden is at his best in season 5. I know I said in the past in Reddit comments that Aiden has gotten annoying, acting just like All-Stars Jake, and I still stand by it, although the season hasn't ended yet, so it's too early to tell, so I won't jump to it too hard. Evil Gabby wasn't all that bad. I mean, compared to what they did with Mal and Mike, it could have been a lot worse. Gret was better in season 1 than season 3. I think season 3 showed a lot more character development with Gret, especially with her relationship with Yul, Gabby, how she plays the game. I think once she's free of Yul, she can be able to be her own person, which is amazing, and she even became better as a person. She even tried to help Jake and Connor out and played more strategically to get Alec out, so kudos for Gret. Beta Hunter was a good character, and the only reason people dislike him is that he was a self-insert. I mean, I wasn't too big on Beta Hunter. I felt like it was more cringe than anything, but that's just a me thing. I actually like the new Hunter being the socially awkward hero, rather than just the harem protagonist. I wonder if one of the writers was just watching too much harem anime for this, but that's besides the point. The next one comes from Cobalt XR. I don't like Anastasia in DC5. I think she's hella boring now. I don't know. It's too early to tell. I want to see how she does going forward, because I usually try not to judge people. Okay, maybe I do judge people because I just judged Aiden from season 5, so I shouldn't be talking. But I just want to see where it ends up. We also have someone who says Chad is mostly unfunny. I mean, he can be funny with the right context, but because he was taking out too early, we'll never know how much he is. I don't know. I wish we got more Ted, but sadly, it's up to Odd Nation to decide if he's important or not. Bruno Ara is the best ship between these two characters. How? Am I the only one who doesn't get it? Is it because she's mean to him? I don't know. He kind of feels like, I don't know, I don't see it as much as everyone else does. Could someone explain that to me? Sorry, I know I should have a little bit more for this, but I digress. Okay, so from comfortable top 3710, Great is better than season 1 than All-Stars, love her in both still. I can see the positivities of season 1 Gret, but I personally prefer All-Stars Gret, but that's just a me thing. Carnival of Chaos is already overrated. Mm, I can say it's a little bit too opposite of All Stars, which isn't a bad thing because All Stars was garbage, but I felt like it was too kumbaya and a little less impactful. I mean, too many people have forgiven each other way too easily, so that's kind of. I mean, it's not bad, but I feel like this feels more like a season 1 kind of thing. It isn't perfect, but I love the season 2 remake. No, I agree. Yeah, there's some flaws I could work on, but I do like how they executed this. I actually love how they developed Maggie as a character, instead of making her just like a Mikan Sumiki parody. And honestly, I just like how it shows more of Ria's character rather than just out of a nowhere bad guy. Oh, and on that note about Ria, Ria's a better winner than Logan. I don't know. It's hard to say. I personally prefer Logan, but I can see the argument for Rhea. Here's the thing: I think the idea of Rhea winning would work as a I won, but at what cost kind of thing, which it actually does fit for her. But at the same time, I don't find Rhea that, I don't know, likable, especially since she's a bit too forced to be a villain. And like I said, I respect Yule more as a villain, even though he's a scumbag, but that's the point of his character. So, yeah, I respectfully disagree. Sorry. Reckwitter says, Manu overstayed his welcome and should have been blamed earlier in episode. Ernesto had more to offer, in my opinion. I agree that we could have had more Ernesto, but I think it has to do with the fact that Aiden moved to the fans try, which I don't know why he didn't go home, which I'm puzzled by this new villain Aiden role. He's acting like All-Star Jake, like I said, but maybe I'll get to it one day. And the final one from Personal Roof 9402 is, apart from All-Stars, Tom is really well written. Honestly, I agree. I never got in All-Star. I get why in All-Stars he was the way he was, but I don't think that really excuses him for not contacting Jake or let alone Miriam. Because, I mean, I understand the awkwardness with Jake, but at least act on the guy. Or better yet, talk to Miriam. She's practically like another mom figure to you. But yeah, Season 1 Tom was pretty well written if we put the whole Jake drama aside. All-Stars Tom was, I don't know, a total idiot. He doesn't communicate, he makes things worse for himself. And if he doesn't talk to Jake, he's fucked. Yeah, that's the issue with Tom. Lack of communication. He gets better in Tom Jake and later Tom Jake 2. I actually like how he's doing in All-Stars so far. No, I mean, sorry, not All-Stars. Fanstar's favorites. And I hope he stays awesome because I think Tom is a little bit more secure now that he's married. Which is another interesting hot take I'm going to bring up for myself. I wouldn't mind Jake coming back post-wedding to see how he would do on a modern season. Hey, but that's wishful thinking. Okay, I guess that's it for now. I'm probably going to run this footage out. Because I already don't know what to do with it. So feel free to exit the rest of this as well as I play a bit of Fire Red. Anyway, cheers. Actually, no, we're not done right now, so I decided to do something different. I'm going to bring up some of my own hot takes to bring to the table. So, I'm going to bring up this one. We need more Yule characters, and I said, and I quote, "Don't get me wrong, Yule's a racist piece of sex, this homophobic piece of shit, but honestly, he's give the proper conflict needed. Not only does he unite the biggest enemies against each other, but he also gets his death desserts." So yeah, I'm actually okay with Yule, even though he's clearly a scumbag, but I can understand why why he's absolutely despised. Because trust me, I wouldn't want to have a real life Neo around me. But as far as the villain goes, I think that's the point. He's supposed to be a scumbag, but and I also think we kind of need more Yule characters to like not be total rage bait, but to get their justice source. Because I usually like it when because he's kind of a necessary evil, as I would say. So I compared him to Johnny Fairplay and Elise Wims, and I honestly feel like we need the love to hate characters. I mean, I don't particularly like Yule, but I can respect his role within the story. Okay, so for the next one, I'm gonna bring up that I don't find Jade that interesting as a character, and which is what I put in here. Now, I don't hate Jade, but I do think like she's that similar to that of Marion from Survivor or Derek Levasseur. But my issue with game is like she doesn't really have much of a personality. She's too game centered. Now, if we knew about her outside the game and her interest in marine biology, I'd enjoy her more. In fact, there was a lot of missed opportunities with her, such as the vitiligo, which kind of shows why she doesn't socialize as much. Being raised by two moms, we could get more insight of how it felt, or better yet, maybe the reason she's so much a game bot is because she watches these shows as a form of therapy to get her through everything. And honestly, I want to like Jade, but at the same time, she doesn't really bring much to the table. And I think with a proper amount of tweakings, I think she'll be an overall well-rounded character, but that's besides the point with me. I'm gonna get a lot of flame for this, but hey, it is what it is. Another more controversial opinion is my liking of Jake and Logan. Now, neither of them are perfect. Especially Jake's writing, but at the same time, I can see why he is the way he is. Doesn't justify it, but at least we have a motive. And on the other hand, Logan, and while I don't agree with his flipping, I do like his character growth when it comes to his coming out story, which I find is really wholesome. So, plus Jake and Logan do have some good connections. Jake has Miriam and Connor and Tom, and later on Aiden. Logan, he has Hannah, Spencer, Natalia, and Richard. Like, they may not be the most perfect characters, but honestly, I feel like they're fine for me. I like my characters with flaws. Otherwise, it would be boring. And hey, if you don't particularly like Jake or Logan, that's fine. It's no skin off my nose. We all have opinions of our own. Overall, I do enjoy Disventure Camp despite its flaws. While I do think there is a lot more that could be offered, I do think there can be I'm just glad it exists for the most part. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but hey, there's a lot of shows I don't like that many people do like. So it's here and there. Maybe there's characters you may like that I don't, and vice versa. So I have noticed the fan base can be up and down, but I won't dwell on it too much. It is what it is. Anyway, cheers and apologies, but I'm gonna have to keep going with this Pokemon montage. So if you stopped at this point, feel free to click off. Apologies.